What's up, everybody? Welcome to the CanesInSight Baseball Podcast, powered by Ann and Sharon Levine, Accident Attorneys. Got an awesome show. We have Griffin Hugus, the transfer from Cincinnati, local kid from Palm Beach, pitcher that Miami has extremely high hopes for, dominated in the Cape. Really emerging player. Was a two-way player at Cincinnati, shortstop and pitcher, focusing now exclusively on pitcher, and had an unbelievable summer. Arrow pointing up. He could be an impact player for the Canes. Even a Friday or Saturday starter. It's not out of the question with how talented this guy is and the trajectory that he is going on. So we will talk to him. Thanks to Canes Connection for that interview. Also, we'll talk about the news that Darren Fenster leaving the Miami program, being replaced by Chris Dominguez from the San Francisco Giants, originally from Gulliver and the University of Louisville. So we'll talk about all that. But first, a word from some of the best friends that Canes baseball has.
This episode of the CanesInSight podcast is brought to you by our friends at Sala Astorita & Cox, a boutique law firm focusing on securities regulatory matters, broker-dealer and investment advisor regulation, white-collar criminal defense, complex commercial litigation, and securities arbitration and litigation. The firm aggressively represents clients throughout the nation. Contact them now at 561-989-9080 or visit them online at salalaw.com.
So before we get to the interview with Griffin Hugus, some news. Darren Fenster, Miami's hitting coach, has returned to the majors, originally with the Red Sox, has gone back with the Arizona Diamondbacks, being replaced by Chris Dominguez, local kid, Gulliver Prep, went to the University of Louisville, was the Big East Player of the Year for Louisville, ended up getting drafted in the third round by the San Francisco Giants. Had a cup of coffee in the majors, had 2 home runs, played there, was able to reach that level. Now is a coach, was the head coach at Bellarmine. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Now returning as hitting coach for the University of Miami. The intel I have on this is basically, I think Coach Fenster just didn't want to deal with NIL, the portal, and all the stuff that comes with college baseball. Tried it, but really preferred to return to the pros, was able to return to the pros. Chris Dominguez already in the college game, now is stepping up to the ACC level and is going to be able to come home to a program he's very familiar with and continue to work with these players. A third baseman by trade, again, a major league hitter, and somebody with experience in this program, worked a lot with Yo-Yo Morales. I'm told, talking to people around Yo-Yo, that he had a major impact on his development. So he's back here in Miami to take this hitting to another level because, of course, of all the weaknesses last year, hitting was probably top of the list. So interested to see how that goes. But whoever the hitting coach is, whatever we're doing on offense, we're going to need pitching. And for that, we're going to talk to Griffin Hugus, Miami's newest addition from the transfer portal. All right, we are here with one of the jewels of Miami's transfer portal class, a local kid, a guy who had an unbelievable summer up in Cape Cod. I know a lot of Canes fans are excited to see pitch here at Mark Light, and that is Griffin Hugus. Griffin, man, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, man.
So listen, you're a local kid growing up in Palm Beach, Cardinal Newman. Were you a Canes fan growing up? Or were you even a college baseball fan? Or were you just so locked in on what you were doing in Cardinal Newman?
I wasn't really a big Canes fan yet. I never really thought I'd be able to come down here. It's been such a blessing to be able to have this opportunity. But growing up, my parents are from the Chicago area, so we were more Hoosier fans than we were anything in Florida. So not a lot of connections to any Florida schools, but always had a lot of respect just for the Canes baseball team in general, just being a historic program.
Now, coming up, obviously, you pitch. In high school, what was your role on the team?
I was a shortstop more in high school. I didn't throw much. I even played a little shortstop my freshman year at Cincinnati, but pitching just really has caught my attention. I feel like I've been able to excel in it. It's been a blast to be able to move towards that.
Oh yeah, no, we're gonna get there. Don't worry. But just I really want to focus on just in high school because a guy like you with so much talent ending up north, is interesting. How did you end up at Cincinnati after having been a position player, been a pitcher? I believe you won Pitcher of the Year. How did you end up all the way up north?
I had so much just trust from the coaching staff that recruited me at Cincinnati. They really invested in me as a hitter, and I was just really excited to be able to go do that up there. And Coach Guggens did just such a great job just displaying that trust from the get-go in the recruiting process, and I just was so grateful to have him to be able to play for him that one season we did get to play together, and it was just a blast. And having that kind of trust in the coaching staff was something I really wanted out of high school, and they really showed it to me.
And did they recruit you? I know you played both when you got up there. Did they recruit you as a two-way player? Did they say you were going to be more of a shortstop? Like, what was that process like?
They recruited me very strongly on both sides of the ball, and I think that's a really big reason why I did end up there. I just really believed in myself as a hitter at that point still in my career, and they gave me a lot of opportunity as a freshman, and it really showed that they stuck to their word when they did recruit me.
Did you always see yourself as a two-way player? Like when you picture yourself wearing a major league uniform, what position were you playing as a kid?
It was always shortstop. I have Trevor Story was like my favorite player growing up, and he was the uni I would be wearing around in his Rockies uni. And I just thought for sure I was going to be ended up a shortstop. So
now you hit a lot at your freshman year at 2 home runs, a bunch of steals. So I mean, you were hitting, also pitching. When did it kind of come into your brain that maybe pitching gives me more of a pathway to the future than playing shortstop?
I had a really just great conversation with Lee Sponseller, our former coach at Cincinnati, and he really just sat me down and kind of explained to me that I had a really good chance to be able to make it to the next level as a pitcher. And I kind of decided then like it was time for me to become a pitcher.
And was this between your freshman and sophomore years, after your sophomore year?
It was in the winter time last year, so a little bit less than a year ago. Because the last year in the fall, I did really focus on hitting again, but we just kind of decided like, hey, this could be the next step for me in my career, and hopefully it was I think it was the right choice. I really enjoy it.
Now you had a good year last year, talking about 4.91 ERA, 33 innings pitched. One thing that jumped out to me just watching what you did at the Cape, and we'll get to that in a second, is at Cincinnati, you're hard to hit, but the walks were a little up compared to what we saw on the Cape, where you were just unhittable and tremendous control. Went to Bourne, 2-0, 2.31 ERA, 23.1 innings pitched, 24 Ks, only 4 walks. What changed for you between, again, a good year at Cincinnati and what really looked like a dominant session at the Cape?
Truly, it was the coaching staff up there in Bourne. Coach Curtins up there was just unbelievable, working with me on how to use my pitch repertoire the right way. We did a lot of workshopping with different breaking balls, and I really feel like I made a lot of improvement with my pitch mix. But being able to use the fastball just early and late in counts and know where to throw it and how to use it was really big for me.
Now, I'm not a pitcher, but just if you can get to some specifics of how you worked on your pitch mix. Obviously, you talked about your fastball selection, but with the breaking balls, what did you change or work on that was successful for you?
So I would say for the breaking balls, I was throwing more of a slurve the last 2 years, and when I got to the Cape, Coach Kearns really just broke it down to me on how I personally can spin the ball and personally how my arm action works, and he kind of explained to me that pitch wasn't the best just to optimize how I was throwing. So I kind of broke into a more of a harder slider that's considered a gyro slider now, all these pitching nerds will say, but it's more of a harder slider with less movement. And then I also throw now a bigger curveball that is not really worried about the velo anymore, and it's more worried about the shape. So I'm able just to throw 2 pitches instead of 1 breaking ball and kind of focus on 2 things instead of trying to get them to be the same pitch, which has been huge for me.
And you think that's helped your control as well? Because obviously, with the walks your strikeouts went up and your walks went down. So did that just work hand in hand with the control?
Yes, we did a lot of work just focusing on if you know when to throw a pitch, and like you just need to know what zone to throw it in. So I'm not trying to throw a slider in all parts of the plate, just a slider in the one location. I'm not trying to throw a fastball location. It's just a fastball in the location that works. So being able to do that really helped me with my just walk to strikeout ratio has been able just to gradually climb because I'm just throwing more stuff in the zone and better locations.
Now, just following your box scores, I wasn't watching in the Cape, but it seemed like you were pitching more and more innings per outing as the summer went on. Is that accurate? And just how do you see your stamina in the game as far as your ability to handle a workload?
I really miss starting being a two-way at Cincinnati. It was hard for them to find me starting roles, and I only had a couple starts my freshman year and only 1 start last year. But I really feel like that's where I can really excel as a pitcher. And that's a big reason why I've been trying to throw more than one or 2 pitches, really get a real pitch mix, because I really feel like I can go 6-7 innings into a game and make myself the most valuable possible. So.
Now, I skipped the pretty important steps. I wanted to get to the Cape, but in between that sophomore season at Cincinnati and going to the Cape, you made a pretty big decision, really 2 big decisions, entering the portal and then committing to the University of Miami. So starting with the portal part of it, what made you decide to jump in the portal?
I just felt like it was time for me to hopefully come somewhere closer to home. Cincinnati was awesome. I did love it there, but I just felt like being so far from home, it was really difficult for me just to feel like confident in myself and not having my family to back me up and just be there for me when I needed them. And I felt like that was just my time to enter the portal. And I love my time there at Cincinnati, and I couldn't be more happy for the time I spent.
So you jump in the portal, start making contact. In terms of the coaching staff and their conversations with you, what were some of the selling points for the University of Miami and the fit that it was for you?
I mean, being close to home, obviously, as I just mentioned, is just a huge deal for me, being able to be so close to my family because they're just so important. But also just the coaching staff from the get-go was very, very positive and high energy, and I love that. And I feel like they really had a lot of trust in me and really wanted to bring me along. And I feel like as a coaching staff, when they are that eager to talk to me and eager to get me on campus for visits, it was really like important for me as in the portal. I really want to go to a coach who I feel like could trust me and I could trust them. And that's what I feel like they kind of displayed to me.
In terms of them describing your game to you, and obviously they saw something in you that made them want to go after you so hard. What did they tell you that they liked about your game?
I felt like they were able to talk to me very similar to the way I feel like I play as a player. They said I was very competitive, and they can tell that, and I was very proud of that. And they also said they could see me being super athletic on the mound and having a lot of raw ability as a pitcher because I hadn't really focused on pitching very heavy until the last season. So I knew a coaching staff who really believed in me as a pitching prospect and a project almost because of how much I had room to grow. They were just so positive about that part of it. And I really was just made it really easy for me to make the decision, to be honest.
Did they lay out a developmental plan as far as like, these are the things we would work on you with, and this is how we see you down the road? Or is that something that's kind of happening now?
It's a little bit of both. So they did have a really good plan for me when I was in the portal, and that was a big reason why I made the decision. But they also have been able to work this fall and revise that plan and make decisions based on how I've been throwing. It's been pretty awesome to see how hands-on they've been.
And what are some of without giving anything secret away, what are some of the things that they've seen now they have you and they see you throw up close that they want you to work on or do more of, and just kind of how has it changed since you've been on campus?
Coach Laz is really big on consistency, and that's just a huge piece I feel like can make any pitcher better is being consistent. We work every day with pretty similar drill work to make a real routine and be able to really get on a program so you know how your body feels when you're throwing good and know how to fix your body when you're not feeling good. And be able to do that every single day and work on that kind of drill work every day has been huge for me to be able to, I feel like, make the steps I need to make.
And look, it's obviously it's a competition. We know that a lot of people there want to be starting pitchers or have started in the past, but is that something that's on your mind and that the coaches know is that, hey, your goal is to be one of the starting pitchers for the University of Miami?
Yeah, I feel like that's everybody's goal. They want to be a starting pitcher, and I feel like they've given us a great opportunity to all work for that role. And I'm really excited to be able to this fall just compete against everybody on the team. I feel like it's going to make everybody better, the hitters better, when we all are just going out there competing for roles because there's so many great pitchers on staff right now.
You're a South Florida kid, so it's not like you're unfamiliar with the University of Miami. But had you been to Coral Gables before? Like, did you go to camps or anything, or tournaments, or any kind of visit to the University of Miami before?
The only time I actually ever been on campus was 2 years ago when they were hosting the regional and playing against Maine. I came down because one of my good buddies, Jacoby Long, was playing, and I had just a really good time seeing that environment. I was like, man, this would be just an amazing place to play one day. I never thought I would get to play for but I was like hoping maybe we would come down from Cincinnati and play against them or something because it was just such an awesome environment.
And Jacoby drafted. Once you entered the portal, did you talk to him about, hey, I'm thinking about Miami, they're recruiting me? Did that conversation take place?
Of course. I really trusted him just to get a good perspective from the players' point of view, and he just gave me a really honest answer, and that was really big. And just when you had that kind of honesty from a player who really believed in Coach JD and Coach Laz as a pitching coach, it was easy to see his perspective, how positive he was about the program and the steps they're taking.
And now you're here, so just we're going to get to baseball in a second, but from a student perspective, going to class, seeing the campus, what are your impressions of the university itself?
It's nothing like Cincinnati in the sense of location and weather. I love the warm weather. I'd rather be sweating on the way to class than wearing 5 coats like I was last year. So it's awesome to be able to just shorten t-shirt and go to class every day and be on campus. It's pretty awesome just to be in the great weather and the great area and be able to be close to home also. Now,
in terms of just baseball, obviously you guys are working out. Any initial, you're new, and a lot of people here are new. It's funny because it's like sometimes you're the new guy coming into a team, but here it seems like the whole team almost is new because there's so many new faces. What's that process been like just with teammates that are kind of the same situation as you all coming at once?
It was pretty awesome to see just how the older guys who were here before, like Dorian and Brian Walters, were able just to bring us all together and really just be positive from the get-go and understand the environment we're trying to create and the culture we're trying to create. I mean, Brian Walters with the pitchers has just been an awesome leader, and that really I feel like has made it very easy for everybody, especially the newer guys, to just be comfortable and be able to compete.
And one of your new teammates, Daniel Cuvée, was up there with you in the Cape. Did you hear about that home run that he hit? I think it was like 470 feet. Like, what are your impressions of him, either from the Cape or now that you're with him here in Miami?
Not that I'm scared to face him or anything, but I was excited that I didn't have to, because if he got me like that, I don't know if I'd be able to show up on campus. But he's just been an awesome guy also. For the hitters, he just is able to be very mature for a sophomore and just such a great leader. And I feel like everybody is really easily drawn to him because of how great he is on the field, but off the field, he's just a great guy also. And it makes it really easy for the locker room to gel.
Now, again, you guys you're just getting started, but any of your teammates stand out just that you've caught your eye? Again, I'm not saying, I know you can't list everybody, just some people or tools or just something you say, wow, that's impressive for this crop we have here at Miami.
Reese Lumpkin is pretty awesome. His arm slot and his ability just to spin the ball has been pretty awesome to watch and catch play every day. I get the blessing to throw with him every day, which is pretty awesome just to see an older guy and how they hone their craft in. Jake Ogden, I got a chance to play against this summer, and he can really swing the bat, and he's been pretty cool to watch because I feel like he's going to be a big impact. And also Todd Hudson from Liberty, a big transfer that we got. He's just all-around great guy, and on top of that, just really dialed in on the baseball side of things. And he's doing almost everything you can do and more to become a better hitter, and it's pretty awesome.
And is there any chance you'll be able to hit for yourself in any of these starts? Has that been discussed, or is that like totally off the table?
I think it's off the table, but if coach ever asks, I'd be ready to go.
So your personal goals in terms of, we'll get to team goals in a second, but just personal goals for what you want to accomplish at the University of Miami. Obviously, you came here for a reason.
Personally, I want to win. I've never been able to play in a playoff game at Cincinnati. We did get a chance to go to the Big 12 tournament last year, but I came here to win games, and this is just a storied program for winning, and that's my biggest thing. I really want to make a regional. I want to host a regional, super regional. Like, that's the main reason why I came here, because this is the place you do that. If you want to win games, you go to Miami.
And just in terms of your own like development, like things that you want to see from yourself here at Miami, that you're setting those goals and you want to achieve personally.
Personally, I just want to become the pitcher I know I can. I feel like I was able to show flashes of it this summer of the strikeout and walk ratio, which I feel like I really was able to improve. But I feel like I have even more to grow in that sense, and just be able to really improve my control and all that stuff. I feel like with a team with this good of a defense and this good of a hitting roster behind me, it's going to be really easy. Just be confident, go out there every day and be able to give it all I got.
In terms of your background, being a couple two-way guys, right? I guess Todd is going the other way, you focusing on pitching. What about playing shortstops helping you as a pitcher?
It does give me a lot more respect for the hitters. I know that hitting was just so hard, and it's just so much more failure than pitching almost, that you got to remind yourself, like, as a pitcher, just be confident and really make the hitter earn what they're doing, because hitting is just probably the hardest thing to do in sports. So if you really make them earn it, it's you got to take your cap if they do, but it makes it a lot easier having that confidence knowing as a pitcher, like, they have to do something way harder than almost I have to do right now, which is hit the ball.
And what would you say is your mentality as a pitcher? Like when you're going out there on the mound, like what do are you somebody gets real amped up? Do you like to lock in and kind of stay zen? Like what's your process like mentally as a pitcher?
So mentally, I have made a lot of strides in the last season. I feel like this is honestly why I made the biggest jump this summer. Is I've kind of drawn closer to my faith while I'm pitching. And as a strong Christian, I really go out there every inning. I say a prayer before I get out there. If I'm in trouble, there's runners on, or it's a stressful at bat, I just start praying while I'm on the mound to myself. And I feel like being able to do that makes it seem so much easier just to pitch when you're just worried about something that's so much greater than you. I say a prayer to myself, knowing that God, just his plan for me is so great. And knowing that as a pitcher, it just makes it so easy just to go out there, and the hard work, and what you're going to do. And if I fail or if I win, if we succeed or we lose, I know that God has me, and his plan for me is so great. So just having that kind of serenity while I'm throwing gives me a lot less stress, and I don't have to be amped up anymore. I just got to go out there and do my thing because I know that he has me.
Kind of sticking on the mindset part, you're someone who went to Cincinnati, weren't as known nationally. Now you see D1 baseball talking about you as a potential MLB draft pick, and obviously put up numbers with the best players in the country at the Cape. How do you kind of balance that where you say, okay, I like the kudos, but I want to show what I can do?
I know, like, as a kid growing up, your dream is to get drafted. So it's pretty awesome seeing that become something that's even talked about from anybody, let alone D1 baseball, which is pretty cool. But I just got to remind myself every day, like, nothing's promised, and I got to keep working hard, because if you don't show up in the spring and then have a good season, then none of it matters what the articles say. You really just need to go out there and do what you can do. But I'm pretty confident that the hard work we've been putting in the fall, we're going to be a very successful team. And that's all I can worry about, is just winning games, because the other stuff, that the personal accolades and the getting drafted, all that stuff comes when you win games, because that makes it a lot easier for everybody.
Now, you're someone who, you talked about the pitch mix evolving. Are you focused on velo as well now that you're only pitching, as far as trying to get that up? Or where are you at there? Is that something that you're comfortable where you're at and you want to focus on other things, or how does that fit in?
I feel like the work we put in the weight room right now with Coach Nick Soto has just been really, really big on just building strength and building velocity, that I think that's just going to come over time. I'm really big on long toss, and Coach Lass has done a really good job to recognize that everybody wants to gain velo, but it's not the most important thing. And that's kind of how my mentality is about it. I've been able to pretty steadily gain velo throughout my career so far, and I know that working more on pitching is going to help that as well. But I'm not necessarily worried about that, because as we've seen in today's game, that velo is a king. But if you throw strikes and you can do the right things with the ball with the pitch mix you have, I don't think it's as important as everybody thinks. So.
Yeah, I know you saw that Greg Maddux documentary on MLB Network, but it was pretty crazy if you haven't seen it. Some of the ways he would set up guys like months in advance.
That's just the king of it right there. He shows that there's another level to pitching that's past velo, that's past even your pitch mix, and it's really mental.
Well, Griffin, listen, excited to see you. Before we let you go, Canes Connection made this all happen. Just quick word on how Canes Connection has kind of helped you as you come in here to Miami.
I mean, it's been phenomenal just being able to build my brand, be able to get my name out there. They just do such a great job from that side of things, that it makes me confident and be able to know that they're helping me build that brand behind the scenes, and it makes it really easy just to get my name out there.
Well, Griffin, thank you for joining us. Excited to have you back home here in South Florida. We're in the orange and green. Your parents in the stands. It'll be a fun, just great to see you develop and have a great career here in Miami.
Thank you so much.